I love to quilt, but I'm also able to take a stand back and recognize my thought process when I'm quilting, and I'm gonna share them all to you. It can get really expensive. It can start with an image, an idea, or something that you saw on the internet, and the next thing you know, you're spending hundreds of dollars on one quilt. I love to quilt. So there are stages in quilting that I like. The shopping, the putting the fabric together, the cutting, the piecing, and the sewing part. Past that, I lose interest. And I recognize that that's what I'm doing. So this is one of the reasons why I stop quilting constantly. Because I lose interest. I pick and choose the stages of quilt process that I like, and then I dislike some parts of it. I can get creative overload. What that means is, while I'm doing something and in the middle of quilting, some idea will just come to me and imagine the possibility of another project. While I'm finishing a project, I'm also thinking about other ideas. It's so easy for me to imagine things while I'm doing something, and so that gets me in trouble all the time. So I call that my creative overload. Quilting is fantastic. There's just so many ideas to choose from. Unfortunately, it can also lead up to buying, but less on the sewing. So I call that the FAS, Fabric Acquisition Syndrome, or hoarding, or just buying, or stashing. What I'm trying to say is, it's so easy to accumulate fabrics and promise yourself that you're going to finish it, but the next thing you know, there's boxes and boxes of fabric that have yet to do because you haven't got to sewing it. Burnout is just no inspiration, and that's something I have to really be mindful of when I'm quilting, because I don't want to start something if I can't finish it. I also recognize that quilting is just like scrapbooking. The right paper or the right fabric is always at the store. I used to scrapbook when I was young, and let me tell you, when you are into scrapbooking, you never have the correct paper. It's never in your stash. It's always at the store. So it's like a never-ending loop of collection of papers. And papers are cheap. Fabrics are expensive. You want to see everything because, well, you're going to miss out. There's something incredibly addicting about quilting, and that is, you think about it, you obsess about it. Sometimes you think about joining points, piecing strips together, or images in your head that you're combining all these colors, and you do that where you're sleeping, you just woke up, you're driving, even you're watching TV, your head is in the imaginary world of quilting. I have unfinished projects, and I think I'm not alone. So anyway, that's just the reality. One day I'll get to it. I also realized that quilting is a continuous loop. Wait, when you quilt, you're not supposed to end because it's supposed to be a continuous loop. I hope I'm wrong, but sometimes, some days, I feel like quilting is a continuous loop. You're not supposed to end or finish. Something will hit you in the head and boom, start a new project. The only logistical reason why I don't quilt is I want to quilt big pieces, and I don't have the correct big size tables to do that. I have a lot of machines. I have over 20 machines that's taking up my space, so I don't have any more room for a large size quilt. What about scrap quilting? Let me tell you, scrap quilting is sometimes a hoax. It's never scrap quilting. Even the magazine covers or book covers about scrap quilting, they're not really 100% scrap, because you'll end up buying fabric. Why would you exert all that effort if you don't have the correct color to put in your quilt so that it looks nice and proportionate. Or especially if you're inspired to give it to someone, you want to give it your best. Although the idea started as a scrap, it's never a scrap. It's a point of argument, but I don't believe in scrap quilt. You end up buying fabrics at the store. In the 1930s, I would believe that there's such a thing as a scrap quilt. Not anymore. So this video is really not about negativity. It's about giving you different perspective on how to slow down if you are overwhelmed with your project. Quilting can be very enjoyable, addictive, and very fun to do. And I love to sew clothes. That's what I enjoy. I also love quilting. In fact, I love it so much, I'm lucky enough to take a step back and listen to my thoughts and judge myself. Well, you know what? I'm not doing that right. I need to take a step back and slow down because I get so overwhelmed. For the meantime, I'm waiting for my next energy to finish my quilt projects. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.